Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to Meeting Room Magic. So my name is Jenny Hicks. I'm the Technology Manager at Midwich, working most closely with True Colours, the Technical Video Division, and also the Midwich Solutions team. Today we are looking at some of the most popular meeting room systems from the Midwich portfolio, and this will be a simple overview and hopefully introduce you to some new ideas or perhaps products to maximise your opportunities when specifying systems for meeting and training spaces. What I'd like to do is run a quick poll now just to ensure that everyone can hear me. If you could kindly respond, and if anyone is having problems, we can try and assist you with these using the questions feature. Okay, I've got a couple that have come back and said no. There should be a questions feature available in the toolbar on the right-hand side of your screen. If you can just post whether you're hearing anything for me. It may be worth just drilling into the audio settings. So if that toolbar is small, there should be an orange arrow that allows you to bring it full screen. And then under audio, you should be able to check and make sure that that's coming through your speakers. Alternatively, if you're still unable to pull audio through, perhaps use the phone feature where you can dial in and listen via phone. Okay, I presume those that were having problems have now dialed in on phone, as we haven't had anything come up on the questions section. So we shall begin. Okay, chat has been disabled for this webinar, but you can post questions by typing them into the questions window, and you're all muted, so it's only myself that you can hear. At the end of the presentation, we can then go through any questions that you've posted. Some of them might have been answered later in the presentation, and any that haven't, we can hopefully answer them today, or we can come back to you with answers and further information. The presentation is being recorded, and it will be available for future viewing via the Midwich website. So, we are going to build a meeting room together. And to do that, we'll be looking at the following popular technologies. That's room booking and resource management, ultra-high resolution interactive displays, simple, neat, hardwired connectivity, collaborative wireless connectivity, video conferencing, true wireless conference microphones, and finally, NFC printers for some takeaways. So we're starting with a blank canvas meeting room. As we progress through this presentation, we will return to this template, adding in the products discussed as we go. A blank canvas is how we need to view every new meeting space opportunity. Always try and ignore any existing systems that the user has in place, unless they want to keep them, or perhaps they've told you that they particularly like their functionality. It really is crucial to focus on their requested user experience and not products that you've recently seen. What does the user expect to be able to do in the room? Are they able to describe their visualized experience from what will happen when they arrive outside the meeting room right through to shaking hands with the delegates at the end of it and leaving? This is going to help you to select the right systems. So we're going to start outside of our room. Room booking now is less of a buzzword or trend and more of a frustration for many of us in business. How many times have you yourself gone to use a meeting room that you've booked, but it's already occupied, and it would be unprofessional to interrupt them? And after wandering around the building, you finally find the smallest space is empty, but it's got no AV hardware to allow you to present, and it gives a poor representation of your business and your own personal organisational skills. Panels that are mounted outside the room entrance not only offer us an aesthetically pleasing door label, but they can display current or next meeting details. Using the touchscreen functionality, one can view the future schedule for that room, and they can even book a meeting there and then on the screen. AMX's RMS solution integrates with existing email calendars or can offer a bespoke web interface for users to book those rooms from their desks or remotely. Any meetings that are scheduled at the touchscreen display will also automatically update these calendars. And the screens never lie, so when you find that your room has been hijacked, there are no arguments to be had. If you wanted to take this further, the system could integrate with an access control system, and a code could be applied to your meeting so that then entry is only allowed for those that have that 4-digit code to get in. Notice the red light on the side of the panel. This indicates, without being in front of it, that the room is occupied. When a room is vacant, the light changes to green. So if you're roaming the corridors in search of a room for an impromptu meeting, you can quickly spot those that are in use without having to peer through the window or play knockdown ginger. There are many solutions available for room booking, but the reason we featured AMX in this presentation is that room booking is just one small feature of their RMS solution. Resource Management Suite, also known as RMS, offers asset management and monitoring. So from one central location, using the RMS software, you can monitor for AV technology problems such as usage, lamp hours on projectors, and faults. You can set up alerts so that you receive a warning by email of a fault, of a unit appearing offline, or of lamp hours reaching a dangerous level. You can use RMS to automatically shut down all of your equipment as well, either at a set time each day or when the rooms aren't in use according to the scheduling software. RMS will then offer you a detailed report on how the technology is being used, so whether that's energy consumption in each room, or does that room really need a Blu-ray player or a video conferencing system, given that it hasn't been used in a long period of time. To use RMS to its full capacity, we do need additional hardware to control and monitor all of these devices that are in our building. If this solution is of interest, we have 2 dedicated AMX specialists who can offer you further info, or better still, a showroom tour or a demonstration at AMX's offices, which are near Moorgate Station in London. So let's return to our meeting room, and as you can see, we've now added the AMX room booking panel. This would normally be mounted on or near the door, but visible before you enter the room. Next, we're going to look at the first thing likely to draw attention when delegates enter a room, and that's the display. Some users prefer projection to LED screens, and both are absolutely suitable, but consider your frame when you're looking at a meeting space. Research shows us that our concentration benefits when we are given a clear focus area. The borders of our large format display bezel, or black borders of our projection screen, help to draw our eyes to the display surface and not wander either side to the borders of our peripheral vision. Whilst projection onto walls can look very impressive, it's worth considering your target audience, and in a training environment, a frame for your presentation content might just give them better results. So for our room, we're going to look at an interactive display. Touchscreens enhance a presentation. They focus viewers on the display as the presenter is continuously interacting with their content, and they'll allow you to annotate or highlight and amend in real time. With the cost of touch technology ever decreasing, opting for these displays over the standard large format displays is virtually a no-brainer, and what the next generation expects. My 3-year-old niece wanders up to my television quite regularly and tries to touch the display and then gets rather frustrated that nothing happens. That is the next generation. We are so used to tablet devices, we can't understand why something that looks like a giant version of one wouldn't be able to do the same things. Super-sized displays are high impact. They offer a large enough canvas that we don't have to go down a dual or multiple screen setup in our meeting rooms. Quite often, the more screens that we have to control, the more complicated the user experience becomes. And for the very best visual experience, we have to consider resolution. Full HD screens, 1080p at 55 inch are still very impressive to the human eye. But if you stretch that same number of pixels over an 80-inch diagonal canvas, you'll inevitably lose quality. So for our meeting room, product of choice today is LG's 84-inch 4K Interactive LFD. Why? It ticks all of our boxes. It's giving us a high resolution of 4K. This is 4 times what we can expect from a 1080p Full HD screen. It's a super-size image. It's 84-inch diagonal. We've got loads of space to play with, and it's interactive. So we can choose to sit at our desk, or we can stand up and interact with the screen, however we're most comfortable presenting. But what's next? I'm sure a lot of you will remember the older TVs and screens were almost square. These had an aspect ratio of 4:3. Aspect ratio of the screen is the name that we give to a mathematical formula that we use to describe the width by the height of a rectangle. After 4:3, we moved to widescreen ratios of 16:9 and 16:10, and these offered us higher resolutions and better viewing experiences. 16:9 widescreen, it closer matches our eyes. Our eyes offer a larger field of view horizontally than they do vertically. Upgrading to widescreen ratios allowed us to fit more pixels across the screen surface, and that gave our images and video much better clarity and colour representation. Interestingly though, even at widescreen, what we're seeing at home and what we're seeing in our meeting rooms is still not the same as what we see at the cinema. Movies are in fact shot in 21:9 ultra widescreen. If you watch a movie on a 16:9 widescreen, and this may have happened to some of you at home, you sometimes see black bars top and bottom, and that's always going to happen unless it's been rejigged to fit a 16:9 aspect ratio. This additional width of the 21:9 aspect ratio allows us to add even more pixels, and at the moment that gives us a 5K resolution. The canvas width has now increased, so we've got an even larger workspace for collaboration, perhaps for extra documents to appear on our screen, or maybe for us to have a drawing or annotation notes area, but a much larger canvas and very impressive to the eye. The one featured in this picture is a 105-inch 5K Ultra HD screen, interactive again. This is also from LG. It was showcased at the recent ISE in Amsterdam, and we expect it to be released at some point in Q3 this year. So back to our room, and you'll see that we've now added our display at the head of our table. Next, we're going to look at connectivity for room users to display content from their laptops on the screen. Wireless is all the rage, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, but what happens when the network is down? What happens when users don't have the right connection for a USB wireless system, or perhaps their laptops have security settings or firewalls that prevent them from using wireless technologies, or at least make it very difficult to use them? The problems in the past with hardwired connectivity are usually caused by people stealing cables from rooms. If you have to connect directly to the screen, that means that the presenter is limited to where they can stand or sit. They need to be closer to the screen to avoid health and safety risks climbing over dangling cables. Here, AMX offer a very neat in-table solution, and they call that Hydraport. These can be flat mounted into the furniture, or they can pop up when pressed as shown in the picture on the left-hand side of this slide. I'm going to play a short video now that will show you these products. Notice the cable modules are in fact retractable, so when you've finished, you can return them to their original state, a little like the plug on your Hoover. This stops them from being borrowed and therefore unavailable for the next users. But mostly it enables the room to be left really neat and tidy. I think we may have a slight buffering issue there. Hopefully the video is coming through to you. Let me just see if I can replay that. There we go, that should be coming through now. Okay, hopefully that did feature on all of your screens. If not, don't worry. The recorded presentation will be available, but also anyone that's attending today, I can send out the links to some of these videos if you did want to watch them afterwards. AMX's website actually features an online configurator tool where you can select the connections that you require for this Hydraport. These might be HDMI or VGA, power sockets, network points, and this web page allows you to build your unit and alerts you to where you'll need blanking plates, for example, if you're not going to fill the whole Hydraport. Once you've completed your design, you can export it and it becomes a product list. This will give you all the product codes that you need to make up your bespoke solution. Send that on to your Midwich account manager and they'll convert it into a quote for you. So back to our room, and we've added in our hardwired connectivity port and it's in the center of the table. And this is one of the pop-up modules that we saw earlier. Now we'll move on to wireless. So Solstice software is the solution that we're going to feature heavily today. This is one of the most advanced solutions available in this space. It allows users of laptops, tablets, etc., phones to display their desktop or specific content wirelessly onto a display. And you're not just restricted to a few users as you are with many other solutions. As many as 50 screen shares can appear on a display at any time with Solstice. So this solution features central control and management so that rooms can have restrictions set to ensure that not too much bandwidth is used, or set passcodes to make sure that only those in the room can connect to the display. Features of Solstice include full desktop sharing from laptops, but also sharing of just an application window. So for example, if you want to share just an Excel document, you can stream only this. Any changes that you make in the sheet will be displayed in real time, but the rest of your desktop remains private. So pop-up email alerts, Skype notifications won't appear. And if you want to send emails whilst other attendees are still discussing the content that you're sharing, you can do so without interrupting the presentation on the screen. Solstice supports full iOS mirroring using AirPlay, so any content can be shared from an iPad. This is a similar sort of experience to what we get from Apple TV in our homes. It also allows for video streaming from all devices, and you can control all of the content on the screen, and it could be repositioned or brought full screen, perhaps side by side with another document for comparison. And this content can be controlled from any of the user's devices, but also from the display if the display is interactive. If you wish to include a live input, such as an output from a video conferencing codec, perhaps a TV feed from a FreeSat box or even a camera, this can also be done using a capture card on the PC that's running the software. The software will then recognize this hardwired input and it'll allow you to display that as a window as well on your screen. Hopefully this one will work a little better. So this is another short video that just gives you a feel for what Solstice software looks like and how it can be used. Okay. Midwich actually offer a number of solutions in this area, so you are thoroughly spoilt for choice in what you can choose to achieve wireless connectivity in your meeting room. One of those is also from AMX. It's called Enzo. The We Present range of the We Present 1000, 2000 and 1500 from AWind. We offer display note via some of our interactive vendors, both projection and display. and finally the newly released Kramer Via range. But today we're using Solstice, so we've gone back to our room and we've now added a Solstice pod to our room, and our display is enabled for wireless sharing and collaboration, and that's now shown within the bezel of our LG display. So we're going to move on to our room-to-room and office-to-office communications. All businesses today are looking at ways to save costs, and travel and hotels probably carry some of the highest expense. Video conferencing transmits audio and video data, so it gives us that face-to-face experience without everyone having to be in the same location. Unfortunately, people that are sat in front of us don't pixelate, flicker or buffer, so Skype and similar free applications coupled with our laptop webcams don't always give us that real-life experience. Video conference room systems comprise of high-quality cameras, codecs to encode and display other callers in any preferred layout, and omnidirectional wired microphones that pick up sound from each room. For our room, we've chosen a Sony room system. Sony have been one of the leading camera manufacturers for many years now, and the technology integrated into their VC systems gives us extra wild fields of view at 71 degrees, which negates the need to move or control the camera as different attendees speak. They have inbuilt ViewDR and XDNR technology. What does it mean? This provides high levels of chrominance and luminance and reduces the light noise in the room, so the image that's seen at the other end of the call is still clear despite there being low light conditions. This works the other way around as well, so where there's high brightness levels behind a presenter, and that would normally mean that they would appear almost as a silhouette or perhaps invisible, the Sony system balances this to ensure that we see the person clearly. In short, this system is suitable for any room under any light conditions and won't restrict you to specific room layouts or where you have to position screens and cameras. Some users will want high levels of security and protection though for their calls, and they might invest in infrastructure to ensure optimum performance at all times across their network. Actually, many now are opting for cloud-based solutions which offer virtual rooms, and these are at much lower costs. If this is a market that interests you, please do ask your account manager. They'll put you in touch with one of our specialists and they can assist with training or further information on what's available via multiple brands that are supplied through Midwich. I'll just show you what that ViewDR technology looks like. So on the left-hand side, you should be seeing a high bright light coming from the end of the car park entrance there. And as a result, we can't see the license plate of the car, and we can't see the person that's walking on the other side. ViewDR on Sony's cameras balances that for us so that we're able to get a clear view of everything we should be seeing. Returning to our room, we've added in video conferencing, which has the ability to fly, it would seem. So if you've invested in your video conferencing to ensure that your images and video is really of the highest quality, it is also then imperative not to skimp on your audio. Now in large rooms, often the wired microphones that are included in the VC room systems, they're not quite able to ensure that all speakers are heard at equal audio levels. Those sitting furthest away from the microphone are naturally going to be quieter than those closest to it, and that's not a great audio experience for those that are at the other end of your call. You could opt for wired microphones in the desk, but then you are restricted. You can't alter the room layout, table orientation, or you're not going to be able to avoid restriction on where a delegate can sit or present from. And in some setups, concealing cabling can be a real challenge. Under these circumstances, it's time to consider a wireless solution. Now in the past, wireless microphones have used the UHF spectrum, but we're limited here on the number of microphones that we can use in this space. The alternative was to use the proprietary 2.4 GHz wireless format. However, this will compete and interfere with your wireless LAN. The Bosch Dicentis, newly released and featured in the image on this slide, this works over true Wi-Fi, known to us as 802.11g or N. This is the same wireless that we use for our tablet devices and laptops, etc. And as a result, there's no risk of interference with your existing infrastructure, so delegates in the room can still use their personal wireless devices during a conference call. If you're the IT manager, you'll now be pleased to hear that not only are we working inside of your network scope, but we're also conforming to your security protocols and policies. The integrated LCD display on this unit will also tell you who's speaking in the room. Now remember, it's very important to ensure that you have good audio at both ends, and in-ceiling speakers are discreet, they're easy to install, and they offer quality sound reinforcement. The CMS3 series, which was recently launched by Tannoy, has won awards thanks to its innovative design and superior sound quality. And if we return to our room, we've now added our conference microphones, which are sitting on the table, and our in-ceiling speakers, which can also fly like our VC system, have been mounted in the ceiling. So we're using Solstice software, which is going to allow us to share content from our iPad. But we might be able to do just a bit more than sharing content or controlling content from our iPad. What if we could control everything in the room? So many people associate really high costs with control systems, and especially with the swanky control panels that you can buy to use with them. It needn't actually be that expensive to simplify the use of your room. AMX controllers can offer volume, power, input switching control of your display devices, and they can even control lighting or air conditioning and electric blinds in your room. Controllers usually require specialist programming, but how the user interfaces with them doesn't need to be complicated. AMX have teamed up with TP Control to offer an application that will run on a tablet device like an iPad or an Android tablet. This dramatically reduces the cost of the display that you're using to control from. So now our room users don't need multiple remote controls for everything that's in the meeting room. They simply open an app, select which input they want to display on the screen, control the volume, adjust the lights and the temperature, and once they've finished, one simple system shutdown button can turn everything off, saving us energy and costs. And these are completely customizable as well, so you could add your logo to the setup. You could have images of what's in the room. It gives a very professional feel. And if we return to our room, we've added an iPad at the head of our table, which features our control setup there. The final product that I'm going to try and cram into this room is an NFC printer. Using Solstice, we can not only share content from our mobile devices, but we can also view what's being displayed on the screen, the main monitor, on our tablets and phones and laptops as well. There's a browser slides function where somebody without having any software downloaded on their device could open their browser, type in the IP address of the pod that they're using in that room, and get a screenshot that will refresh every few frames or few seconds, showing them what's on the screen. Now, let's say that one of the slides that's been presented was of high interest to the visiting staff, and they wanted to take a copy of it. Of course, we can email them the presentation, we can send them the individual slide, we can screenshot the image, and we can email that or text it to the attendees. But on some occasions, it might be nice to give them something to take away whilst the meeting is still fresh in their thoughts. And with NFC printers, you can do that. You can have a print of your screenshot or photo in 3 very simple steps. You download an app, you select the photo or the screenshot that you've taken, you then tap the device against the printer, and you're done. You're ready to print whatever it is that was on the phone. So let's cram that into our room in the bottom right-hand corner, and we have one finished room that's nice and smart with neat cabling, wireless connectivity, cutting-edge 4K technology on the display there, and fully schedulable and controllable using our AMX systems. We're going to be running some workshops and interactive demonstrations on most of the products that we featured in this presentation today at our Technology Exposed North show at Leeds Armoury on the 6th of May this year, if you want to get a hands-on feel for how some of these solutions work. So thank you very much for attending today's webinar. I hope that you've seen something new today or that you didn't know that much about. If anyone's got any questions that they would like to raise, please do so via the question feature, and I'll look to answer those now whilst we're all still online. Okay, so I've been asked what type of training would our team need to be able to configure and develop the AMX integrations, and from where can we get the integration technical specification to go through it and how it operates. So AMX is complicated. We have 2 dedicated specialists here. We also have a couple of staff undergoing their programming courses so that we can assist with programming. But actually AMX offer free classroom courses. Some of those are chargeable, some of them are free of charge. A lot of them start online. I believe the website is separate to their main site and called the AMX University. You can log on there and go through the online courses, and you can also book yourself into the classroom courses, which are held in 2 offices, one in London and the other is in York. It depends really on what stage you're at with control systems. If you've worked with some of the competition in the past, it's going to be a lot easier to understand. If you're looking to start totally afresh with control and connectivity solutions, that's something Midwich can help you with initially, and then hand you over to AMX if you wanted to further your training and become certified and qualified in working with those. So what I'd like to do is, I've got your details on here. I'll get someone to pop a call into you or contact you with details of how we move forward with AMX training, if that's still of interest. So a new question's arrived. Solstice, how does this install onto a corporate PC environment, lockdown image, etc.? Great, interesting question at a really interesting time. So at the moment we sell Solstice as two versions of it, as software only. There's a small group edition, which allows only 4 users to connect, and then the full software that will allow multiple users to connect. So you pay for a license, in effect, per room, and you do need a PC to run that license on. Now anyone that wants to then use the software, they're able to download the user client as many times as they want, free of charge from the website. You could go off and do that now. We, at the moment, sometimes sell that software on its own, and we have customers that want to use specific PCs that they already have on site or that meet their own criteria. We also then have a custom-built NUCs, Intel NUCs, i5 processors. We have these imaged with a boot-up image specifically for Solstice, so that there's no confusion about what it does. It appears as an appliance. Now it runs Windows 7 embedded, so unless you're the administrator, you're not going to be able to use that little form factor PC to do anything other than running the Solstice software. Solstice have actually recently sourced another product that they're calling the Solstice Pod, and this will be an appliance, and actually if you want to buy it as an appliance, it's not affecting the cost, so the Windows version of their software remains at one price, or you can have hardware and software running on an Android platform at no additional cost. Now this hasn't yet been released, we've only just heard about it ourselves, and this will add in features like full Android mirroring where we've only got iOS today. How does it sit on a corporate PC environment? So it's designed to work on the LAN. You could set it up to work simply as a point-to-point by adding in a standalone access point. We don't really recommend that because it means that your visitors and attending staff are then restricted with no internet access because they've had to join that wireless LAN for that system. Actually, Solstice are on hand as a software developer at any time that if you do install these units and they're sitting on the LAN so that you're connected to the wireless network then and able to stream your content, if you've got any issues, they'll talk you through which ports need to be enabled on your network, how to get around firewalls or keep them running if you do need them, etc., if you do think that you're going to be blocked. But we run Solstice across many of the Midwich offices, and it works really nicely on our network. At the moment we use the image NUC, the i5, and that works really well for us, and we can run usually 2 or 3 simultaneous videos on a screen at any one time. Naturally, if you're looking at a much larger display, and we see some people using this technology with edge-blended projectors or video walls, we might then start to talk about a custom-built PC with multiple outputs, and so that we can support a much larger pixel canvas as one, so something with multiple cards. But that's something that our specialists can help you with, and we're hoping to get an evaluation unit of the new Android-based pod within the next week or so, and once we've seen that, I expect that's going to be a very interesting product, and that will again be locked down for the use of Solstice only, rather than a PC for dual purpose. Hopefully that sort of answers your question. Again, got your details here, so I can get a specialist to give you a call. We do a lot of webinars on Solstice software, and so do the manufacturers themselves. Unfortunately, they're based in Denver, Colorado, so you've got to stick around quite late at work if you want to speak to them directly. But our specialists at True Colours and Midwich are able to run webinars on the software as well. And you can go to their site, mersive.com, MERSIVE, and download a free 30-day trial of Solstice if you want to have a play with it yourselves. Okay, do we have any further questions to come through? It doesn't look like it. So thank you everyone once more for joining us. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with Midwich in the future for any of your meeting room requirements. I am just going to send out one final poll, hopefully to find out if you felt that today's webinar was useful, and would you be likely to attend any in the future. If you could kindly respond, that would be great. And thank you very much for joining. Goodbye for now.